Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, everybody. Are you all able to see the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
We'll begin with the invocation prayer. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Salakya Sakcharonmilitanayena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpade गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतारुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासवादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Our obeisance to the Radha Govinda deities. We are almost in the third module and 15th chapter. So you can imagine what a beautiful journey we have been having. And those who are with us, Hare Krishna, welcome. You're all with us, and we had a nice chanting. Today's chapter is also very small. That is like, only 2 chapters have got 20 shlokas, but the chapters that has got very small number of shlokas, like 9th and this 15th, has the depth, means, it has so much of the deeper meaning that that really gives us who is Krishna there and how do we really approach him, and then finally, ultimately, be with him. So this chapter is that way very important, as we have been always on the lookout for the youth, one by one, all those that in day-to-day life, what is that going to be helpful, and that needs to be connected with Bhagavad Gita, and that's how we have been doing from the day one, science and spirituality. And we saw mind control, why not mind control, and how and why, and then what is that we will be able to achieve, and then about self-confidence, self-esteem. And we also saw what is the important elements in association, and why should we have such association, how do you deal with the day-to-day life in terms of effective communication or self-awareness or critical thinking or creative thinking, the main important component. We also saw decision making, problem solving, those social and thinking skills, and why my thought and my feeling, my actions need to be in congruence with each other so that I become very effective person. And most important, like, the Mahamantra Japa chanting, how does it help? How does it connected with Pranayama? So we have been seeing all that and connecting it with Bhagavad Gita. We saw, like, okay, Krishna says Nishkama Karma Yoga, and then who is Krishna? Why is Supreme Soul? And are we body or are we just the soul? And so the eternity of everything. So one by one, when we have also seen, do all your duties in the with the Krishna consciousness. So always your conscious level. Like yesterday we saw what is consciousness. So something we also even touched upon the quantum physics, and how scientists and all have failed in that way, that there is something beyond subatom, atom, within atom, within atom. What is it? So they do believe, and we have also seen Krishna is in the personal form. He is not impersonal. He is not energy. He is energetic. Okay, all his opulences. We also saw Navavidha Bhakti and the Mahans, the Uttama Adhikaris who have been doing this, the 9 process of Bhakti, and where that stage. And we have been also looking into a lot of Srimad Bhagavatam stories. We saw Ajamila story, Madhavendra. Later on, we also saw Dhruva and Prahlada, the epitome of, then we also saw Jadabharata story. Then when we came back to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's period, and that is the time we saw Haridas Thakur, Madhavendra Puri, then Gopala, Sakshi Gopal. So the stories that is there in our scriptures explain us, it is possible. Krishna is there. He is there around you. If you really believe and have that trust, have that Mahavishwasa, he's there as an Antaryami inside. He's there in the temple, because in the temple, everybody goes, and what is the vibration that you get? So having said, and I would really like you all to interact in such a way that you remember and you do this Chintan Manan. First thing is you're listening. Listening is so beautiful. Yesterday we heard the guest lecture, and I'm sure many of you also have heard. Even when while listening, big devotees go and sit in the front, and there was Prabhu was explaining one of the example. Aage kya, baith gaye kya. So the person who was actually explaining, the devotee used to come very late, and or no, he used to come and sit and just sleep. Okay, so then the one who was doing the pravachan used to really get irritated, but he never showed his frustration, but he will just say aa gaya kya, and then when he sat down, okay, baith gaye kya, then when he goes away, so ja rahe kya. So these three words, three sentences. Oh, you have come, you're sitting, okay, you're going back. So that listening has got so much power. That's what he was explaining. That is the first process in the Navavida Bhakti, which you're all doing. You're listening to what Krishna has said. We are all just instruments. Whatever is being written by Prabhupada in the purports, we are explaining, and that too in the 18 days we cannot go in detail, so we just touch upon certain things. So this man, it seems that one of the thief comes. He's a very big, very rich man, and everybody knows that he goes and he comes very late. So in his dream is in such a fast asleep. In his dream, the moment the thief enters, he's not telling the thief, okay? He's just saying, Aage kya? So he's wondering, how does he know? How come he knew? Then he sits and he tries to find out. And then this man, while sleeping, is a big businessman. So he says, baith gaye kya? And then he says, oh my God, this is really, he's going to catch me. So he just tries to get up and go. And he says, ja rahe kya? So what was told yesterday as an example, that sort of a listening, even listening while sleeping, he was listening, those three sentences he remembered. What does it mean? That means listening is very powerful in Navavida Bhakti, which you've already started. Then, Smaranam, okay, you do chanting also. You also explain, right? So when you're listening, you do the Kirtanam, you do the Smaranam, you remember, and you start chanting. Archanam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Vandanam, Atmanivedanam. We are all there, and how much we are there, you need to assess every now and then. That's why I keep repeating this every day. And yesterday's lecture was, it was a very elevated souls devotees that he explained about the power of listening. Okay, we'll move on today, having shown all the gratitude to ISKCON Mangaluru, who has given the opportunity, and especially Namanishtadas Prabhu. Every day we have to thank. Please keep thanking all those people who have been somewhere or other played a role in your life. Okay, so that it is like, when you are showing the gratitude, thanking from your mind also, Krishna feels happy. Do everything because Krishna feels happy, because it's for Krishna you are doing. Okay. So today's, I said there is something which is totally from consciousness. We are going to something which we all deal with every day. Is anger likely to lead to violence? Somewhere we all know lust, greed, and anger is the gateway. So that we have been doing from the second chapter onwards. But then, are we really in the mind control, or have we controlled all this? So let's see what is the base. Factors associated with the likelihood that an individual will engage in violent expression. Sometimes it does get into violence. Of course, you are all not there because you are into this already. But how are we going to help each other? previous history of violent behavior. These are all the factors, okay? Having been physically abused in childhood, some childhood memories where they have been abused, where they have seen the fights always at home. So having witnessed violence in the home as a child, a history of harming animals as a child, it's something the child is not stopped, and that's how one grows with it. Then heavy exposure to violent TV programs and video games. This is the most crucial thing for, and especially with the corona thing, I, as a counselor, I keep listening. Almost for 1.5 years, everybody was inside the house. They're not having the social skills, have not gone to the school, have not seen the people. So that has really created more of frustration, absence of remorse over hurting others. They've never felt, oh, we are hurting others. They've never realized that. Family history of mental illness, of course, that's the extreme thing. Okay, so check the situations when one gets angry. One has to reflect and get inside one, that only one person automatically you yourself can do this. Understanding the physiology of anger, especially until 25 years, prefrontal cortex do not fully completely, it has not been, those neurons have not been grown. We keep this, and when we have this tilak, Chandan, Gopi Chandan, that has got some, scientifically, whatever has been proven, but then our Vedic scripture says this really controls your emotions from the beginning. The Gopi Chandan is applied, or Sri Shurnam is applied, or Thiruman is applied. It's the white sandalwood or white from the Vrindavan, they have this. So whatever mud, the clay, when it is applied there, it absorbs, it stops emotions. That is one something from all our scriptures I'm talking. But here, what does the science say? That it has not yet developed. So those emotional strength, we all keep bindi for that. So we need to have that pure bindi, of course, with the haldi base and everything. Okay, so what do they do? That was a little off from the what we are doing here. Responding impulsively. This is what the situation is when one gets angry. What do? They respond impulsively, very fast, immediately, immediately answer. No, I didn't never did. I never knew. So impulsive, responding explosively with anger. Explosive is like, just take out words that is hurting anybody. That's the worst thing. Outburst is the emotions hijacking. Easily gets frustrated. Why should I change? They also say, why should I change? Rajo guna, so yesterday we have seen the three guna. Overly concerned. When they have overly concerned, they want everything their way. Then also the situations, they get angry. So there is a time pressure. This is what happens with the most of the youth, okay? That is road rage. When you're in bike, when you're in two-wheeler, when you're just want to show off, that is one. And you get angry. You means not you, the youth overall. What triggers road rage emotions and behavior? Hostile gestures from other drivers breaking traffic laws, the presence of a police jeep, another driver driving slowly, driver discourtesy, traffic jams or obstructions. Everything makes, you like people bang and not realizing it is hurting them only. Well, anyhow, so what does Bhagavad Gita says? The second chapter, 62-63, while contemplating the objects of senses, a person develops attachment for them. So you get attached to the things that's happening around. So from that attachment, lust develops. From the lust, anger arises. From anger, delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. So when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into this material pool. That's little higher level of thought process, that where lust and anger and the greed and everything, loss of memory. So here anger leads to lack of judgment. One can never judge. Okay, then loss of intelligence leading to bewilderment of the memory. So just because we have a right to be angry, it doesn't mean we are right to be angry. That we will see in tomorrow's chapter, 16th chapter, 21st shloka says about anger. It talks about anger. So when the three emotions, desire, fear, and anger, are controlled, we have controlled almost all the mad impulses of our intellect. So this is the main thing now. You've seen the base of anger, okay? Why it comes, and it could be many causes, many reasons. It is very contextual. It is very personal, okay? So it is why it comes and how it comes. A little glimpse is shown here, but then controlling, handling is what is important. Whether you control or whether you handle. So control your anger because it is just one letter less than danger. So anger, D if you add, it is danger. Okay, so how to reduce the hostility level? Now we will just work, for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, right? Which will talk about how do we control. There are many ways. If you go to the counselors, they will give a lot of options. One of the module of mine is dealing with emotions, and I personally feel, that really helped me. I was in the 8th grade, and one of my science teacher always used to compare me with my brother. My brother is very intelligent. He's younger to me by 1 year, and of course, he's a medical doctor. I'm a psychologist. So the teacher used to, in front of everybody, she will always, catch my ears and pinch and really, hurt me so much, to such an extent that she would say, he's very intelligent, he's so good, and you are not that intelligent. What mistake but then in my mind, I used to always think, when I become the prime minister, I will hang her. I mean, this is what I used to think. So based on this, I made the module for the youth. And that module was the biggest hit in Bangkok or everywhere. They all said, we wish we were assertive, we wish we could speak, we wish we were effective, we wish we had communicated it properly. Then, we would not have lost. There are many reasons which they came out with. The module, the name of the module is Dealing with Emotions and How to Control Anger. So once we become, self-aware, adopt the witnessing stance and monitor the self-talk which fuels anger. So my self-talk, that we have to become self-aware. Am I aware of what is that I am thinking of? So interrupt angry thoughts. I have to interrupt and stop. A method called thought stopping. I have to stop that thought. But today also, she's there, my teacher, she's still there, and I always thank her because of her. The training module was a big hit. I always used to tell. A lot of steps, lot of training that goes on. Thought stopping is very useful. To use this strategy, wear a rubber band on your wrist and snap it whenever you become aware of engaging in hostile, irrational self-talk. The mild pain you experience from the snap should help interrupt your negative thought patterns and provide an opportunity for you to use cognitive restructuring technique. What is the cognitive restructuring? Cognition is knowledge. Okay, you have now Bhagavad Gita knowledge. So restructuring, what are you restructuring? You are going to chant the Maha Mantra. Immediately you remember, you get angry. Everybody still gets angry. So how do I purify my mind? I would just have that rubber band in my hand, and when I know that I'm meeting somebody whom I don't like, or I should not react or act, and I just pull it and then think, and then my thought stops. No negative thoughts about that person. Immediately Maha Mantra. So Maha Mantra chanting also trying to remind that, oh, I need to immediately Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So hold on to that, holding that. Okay, then cultivate empathy by stepping into the shoes of the other. That's very important. From their context, learn to laugh at yourself. Don't take yourself so seriously. Pay cheerful attention to the upcoming on reframing. That is, you're going to reframe yourself and you're going to become different. So identify the triggers or high-risk situation and plan ahead. Oh, I'm going there. I know today because my grades are not good. I haven't got good marks and I'm going to be yelled at. My parents also are going to say this, my teachers. So you plan ahead. You go and empathize with those people. Red button exercise. What is it? I have already told you also. Red is stop. Do not react. Do not respond. You please respond and think and say those words which is not going to hurt anybody, which will not hurt yourself. First thing is, in anger, we get sick. We fall sick. It's no one else. You think that you are shouting at somebody, but then it is for ourselves. We need to stop, think, and speak those words which are relevant. We have committed the mistake, then also we need to speak, think, and speak. How and when is very important. Increase awareness of physiological and cognitive components. We have to think about and find out why that anger is triggered and what is happening to my body. That is physiological. Cognitive components, my knowledge, my how does my brain functions. So little bit whenever you get angry, whenever any person gets angry, these are the basic things. Okay, it's not a psychology class. Please remember, we are trying to learn through Bhagavad Gita, how do I control my anger? You are controlled my mind. Mind control was happening. And of course, you all know devotional service and chanting Mahamantra is the best solution for the age group. But then little knowledge, the basic philosophy, because we are in the Jnana Yoga part, module 13 to 18. So first you do that counting, then breathing, counting and breathing, inhale, exhale, inhalation, exhalation. So relaxation, turtle technique. Just, make sure that senses are all pulled and then you're able to control yourself. Leave the situation. If there is a scar, that scar needs to be removed. Then do some exercise. Best thing is Sankirtana. Sankirtana, if you're not able to sing and relate, you just do that. Take some, tabla or any other instrument and start. You can start anytime. Okay, Sankirtana is the best medicine. Thought stopping, replace with mantra. Replace with mantra is the important one. There is another module, the ABC model, that helps the people to change their behavior even. So find out, what is triggering. The A is for adversity or activating event. When what is happening in front of everybody, she is like pulling my ears. Everybody is watching. So what was happening to me? The adversity, that event, that activating event. Okay, B is your beliefs about that event. It involves both obvious and underlying thoughts about situations, yourself and others. Everybody is watching. My thoughts, what is happening? I'm going to really hang her. I wish I become the prime minister, and as if prime minister is going to hang people. I mean, those are the thoughts, 7th, 8th grades. C is consequences, which includes your behavioral or emotional response. The consequences, it is hurting you, it is troubling you. So now what is happening? Once you have this ABC model, it's assumed that B links A and C. Okay, that your belief is what is going to be actually influencing your activating event and the consequences. B is considered to be the most important component, because that belief system, if you remember, 90% is in the subconscious mind. All my memories, all my beliefs, my values, my ethics, my the upbringing and my memories. Okay, then that's because CBT focuses on changing beliefs in order to create more positive consequences. So if I need those consequences and the right direction in the positive form, then I need to work on that. This is restructuring module. You yourself can do that. Negating the irrational beliefs. So this thought process, thoughts are very, very strong. Okay, our mind is very, very strong, and that's where we start thinking. So I can handle anger. You have to keep saying this. I can cope with anger. I can remain in control. I can work this out. I can make the right decisions. All positive messages that you give to your mind. That is through pranayama and mantra chanting. Pranayama really helps. So Sitaraman Prabhu has told you and explained it to you. So pranayama and connect it with the Mahamantra. This Mahamantra chanting really makes you to exhale, inhale, and kumbhaka, holding the breath in a very right way and the right. So 1:2 is to 5. So 1:5 is to 2. That is 1 inhalation, 5 holding, 5 seconds. Then 2 is exhalation. So you will really see that is happening while you do chanting. Okay, Mahamantra chanting, japa when you do. Okay. So having said on the anger technique, which you can create hundreds of them, and something will be working for somebody, and for some, it may not work. But then for overall mantra chanting, holding yourself, thinking positive, thought stopping, and this ABC module, or the light, that red light and yellow light, all these helps. We'll move on. What did we see yesterday? The 14th chapter, we saw the conditioning of the modes, three modes of this one, goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So we saw this, and how it really, we become the puppets in their hands. Then we also saw that characteristics and action, and the death in the modes. That is, while we are in the mode of passion, where do we go again? And while we are in the mode of sattva, rajas, and tamas. So the gunas keep the eternal sound, self-bound to the physical body. Okay, we are bound by that. Sattva binds by attachment to knowledge and joy. We saw those video clippings also, which ISKCON had provided us. Rajas by passion and activity. Passion and activity is okay, but then it is all to be done in Krishna's consciousness, because you are actively involved in doing a lot of work. Career is important, earn enough. We will see for coming chapters that how much I earn, how much I keep, and how much, what is that amount that I have, the percentage that I have to give in charity, the percentage I need to keep it for myself, the percentage that I need to give it to the others. The person who has gone beyond tamas by laziness and sleep. So Krishna tells Arjuna that the person who has gone beyond the three gunas is unattached and responds equally to sorrow or joy. Whether it is pleasure or pain, equally. So today's chapter outline is this: the material world as a reflected banyan tree. Very, very important. It is kind of, that is the analogy. And the need to become detached from it. That is the main theme here. So description of samsara is from 1 to 3. Means of liberation is 4 to 6. All these shlokas numbers. So Purushottama Yoga. He is the Purushottaman. Purusha we saw. Purusha and Prakriti. Okay. Uttama, it is Uttamadikari, the highest, the supreme. Then we also see the transmigrations. This Atma is eternal, but then it takes another body. So then we will also see from 19 to 20 glory of Purushottama, that is Jnana. But here in transmigration, we will see 12 to 15 shloka, Krishna's position as the maintainer, that is Brahman. Then, those three levels you would have understood by now: Brahman, Paramatma, then Bhagavan. Then the three Goloka, that is the three Loka, Bhagavad Gita, summarizing the Vedas and Vedanta. Brahman as Purushottama. Okay. Trishloki Gita. Trishloki, three shlokas are there in that, which is 16, 17, 18, which talks about summarizing the Vedas and Vedanta. So 20th verse summarizes chapter 15. Knowledge explained in this chapter is the essence of Vedanta and the most confidential part and substances of two Vedas. If people around you are not listening to you, they become sometimes very, very difficult. 15th shloka of 15th chapter, read it 2-3 times and you will understand, and then you will start empathizing with those people. That's very, very beneficial. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedascha vedaischa sarvaihi veda vedaha aham. So you chant that 15th shloka and you will find the difference. You will start empathizing and your vibrations will change that enemy or the person who don't like you also. So the tree of this material world is but a reflection. We will see that tree now of the real tree, the spiritual world. Just as a tree's reflection is situated on water, the material reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire. Most important, underline desire. Okay, so no one knows where it begins or ends. This reflected tree is nourished by the three modes of material nature. Its leaves are Vedic hymns. Twigs are the objects of senses. One who wants to disentangle himself from this tree must cut it down with a weapon of detachment. Okay, so and seek shelter to the Supreme Lord. Becoming detached from the material world. Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. Asanga shastrena. Shastram is what here? the weapon. What is the weapon here? Detachment. How does it happen? Dridhena chitva, to cut it. Okay, that is detachment. So transmigration here, Pashyanti Jnana Chakchushi. Chakchushi is with your eyes, divine eyes. Krishna is a maintainer. Vedascha Sarva Aham Eva Vaidya. I am the Veda. Vedacha Aham. A summary of the Vedanta Sutra. Iti Guhyam. This is the secret, confidential. Knowing Krishna means knowing everything. Now, this is the tree. All that entangled tree you are seeing. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Urdhva Moolam. Is Grishma Mataji there, or anyone who would like to chant? You're welcome. So, Urdhva Moolam Adhasakham. So, okay, you Shri, okay, you're there, Srijita Mataji. You will do the translation. I'll read the shloka. Shri
Yes,
Bhagavan
Mataji.
Vacha Urdhva Moolamad Ashwatham Prahuravyayam Chandhansi Yasya Parnani Yastam Vedacha Vedaved. Okay. You can see the
Supreme
meaning here
Personality.
on the.
Yes, Mataji. The
Mm.
Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas.
Yes, one who knows the tree is a knower of the Vedas. This in detail, we will see this tree. So you are seeing, how we are entangled, sense gratification, then impious acts, what all you are seeing. There is something in between Krishna and this tree. What is it? Desire. That desire keeps us away. We are here, this side only. So all pious activities also goes on, economic development, and you are seeing Brahma here, that religiosity here, that this side you will see that liberation, but there is in between the desire lake, the water. You are, this tree itself is, this banyan tree, we don't know where is the end, where is the beginning, where is it, like all the roots are all so much entangled, but these are all considered to be different parts, and we keep nurturing it. So the description of the tree is given here. Okay, so how does it start? It starts with the ground, that is the desire. The cause of the whole thing is desire. What is the second thing? The main roots in Brahmaloka or the total material substance. All right. So the third one is other roots, that is human planetary system versus in form of attachment and aversion. Okay, producing byproducts of suffering and enjoyment. We will do it in detail when you are in level 2. But right now, just understand, from roots, develop tendencies towards piety and impiety. Okay, then we move on to the fourth thing. What is the fourth one here? That is, your material existence is rooted in the spiritual or the upper and the lower planets. The leaves are the Vedic hymns. The leaves are the Vedic hymns. The twigs are the sense objects. Then the tips of the branches are the senses, actually. They are the senses. And you are seeing watered or nourished by the three modes, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. They are watered by these three modes. It's all in the manifested form. So you are seeing this tree and how we get entangled. This is also the same thing in detail here. So the second shloka says, Adhaschordham prasrittastasya shakha guna pravriddha vishaya pravalaha adhascha moolan anusantatani karmanubhandini manushya. Yes, Mataji.
The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society.
So this is the explanation what we saw in the tree, what we were like twigs, and how we nurture it. We keep nurturing it with the three modes. Okay. So the third and fourth says, na rupam asyeha tatopalabhyate nanto na chadirna cha sampratishta ashwattamena menam suvirudhamulam asanga shastrena dhridena chitva tadappadam tatparimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyah tameva chadhyam purusham prapadhye yatha pravrittihi prasrita purani.
The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. So doing, one must seek that place from which, having once gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom everything has begun and in whom everything is abiding since time immemorial.
So how do we get, disentangled? How do we get dhrida? Detachment is the only possibility. We have now whatever said and done, cut. Now, how do we detach? Somewhere we have to attach ourselves. That's what we have been repeatedly saying. Attach yourself to devotional services. Attach yourself to all Krishna. So Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, once we surrender to Him, then automatically the three modes will be above than all those three modes, and then try to detach ourselves. Okay. So this is another. न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम.
That abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world.
So we don't need anything that illuminates that loka, the sea, so beautifully illuminated. We don't need anything. We don't need sun or moon or any electricity or anything. It's automatically illuminated. Okay. ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
So, it's so clear in this. You see, we are just fragments, part and parcel of Him. How we just come and then it's like gone. It's a bubble, that's it. But then Krishna understands that because of this conditioned life, we struggle so much because we have the sixth sense, which includes the mind. So He is very karunya, He's very kind. He really understands that, people are suffering. They are just part and parcel. They're just fragments from my eternal. Okay. So what does it mean? That means, we think that we are, the Atma is eternal, the soul is eternal, but we think we are imperishable. And we get entangled more and more and more and more, thinking that it is all not perishable. Never realizing that it is such a temporary thing. It's just like, we're wearing the clothes, that's it. But we have not understood it's only the body which is very much perishable, anytime, anything. Shariram yat vapnoti yachat yutkrama matishwara grihitvaitani samyati vayur gandhani vashayat.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another.
Yes, one kind of body is taken, another body is taken. We will have the story of Chitraketu. We'll understand, we don't even know why we take this body and why that prarabdha karma, we have those senses, and then we remember, and wherever we leave the devotional service, and that is what we will continue also. But which form we will take, which is that, that depends on what we do here, whatever we do here. Okay. So, Shrotram Chakshut Sparshanam cha Rasanam Ghranameva cha Adishthaya Manaschayam Vishayanupasevate.
The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, tongue, and nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in Krishna consciousness, he is in his pure life. But if his consciousness is adulterated by some type of material mentality, in the next life he gets a corresponding body. He does not necessarily get a human body again. He can get the body of a cat, dog, hog, demigod, or any or one of many other forms. For there are 84 lakh species.
Yes. So even our face, nose, our ears, everything depends on, whatever we have brought with us. And that means whatever, wherever karmas, wherever, whatever the place that you left, the stand that you left, we begin from that in the next birth. Okay. We don't want to take any more birth. That is Krishna's, whatever he wants to do with us. We leave it to him. उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं न वा गुणान्वितं विमूढा नानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः.
The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the moods of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this.
Yes, what sort of a body one has got, how is he got, and what is the jnanam he has, what is the knowledge, everything. Those who are trained in the knowledge can see and can perceive this very well. But those who are mudhatma, they cannot understand. They'll say, it's all part of chemicals put together. That is what one will understand. But one who gets this knowledge, they will really understand what it is. See, not understanding. So, but one who is understanding will exactly pinpointedly do that. What is it? Do that? Do the devotional service. Be in the Navavidha Bhakti. So, what is that Navavidha Bhakti? Yathanto yoginaschainam pasyantyaatmanya vastitham yadanto pyakritatmano nainam pasyantya chetasaha.
The endeavoring transcendentalist who is situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to.
Yes, they are all with the Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha is so important. And the transcendentalists, so they have self-realized souls. You will see that aroma. You will see that, there is some energy when a person is totally into devotional service. His speech, his way of doing things, and his presence itself will give you that vibration when you are a devotee. Okay. Gama vishya cha bhutani dharayam yahamojasa पुष्णामि चौषधीः सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
So nice, no? All your organic, we say that it is all from the moon. And have you ever imagined, just go and watch the moon and the sun and the stars, how are they all placed in such, what is this gravity? How does it play? They play, and not even a single day it has, changed, and how beautifully everything is timed. So that energy is making to stay, that is, they stay in the orbit. They stay in the orbit just because he is into that. He's as an energy into all these universal things. So aham vaishwanaro bhutva praninam dehamashritah pranapana samayukta pachamya annam chaturvidham. 4 types of chaturvidham. Pachami, digestion. Yes.
I am the fire of digestion in every living body, and I am the air of life, outgoing and incoming, by which I digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff.
Yes. You saw that, if you remember, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, Jnanamaya, Anandamaya. So he is there in through moon, the juices to your all your vegetables and that whatever you get. And here the second stuff is like you are getting 4 kinds of food stuff. What is that food stuff? One which you can chew and eat, one which you drink, one which is like sweet, and one which is very palpable, pungent, that it's not sour, it is not hot, it is not spicy. So we will read in detail about all this food stuff also. Whatever you offer to Krishna is a food that we can also digest. So he is the fire of digestion in every living body, and he's the air of life. Pranamaya, Annamaya, and Pachami, everything is digested because the air is outgoing and incoming. So the digest 4 types of food. So all your fast food and all doesn't come into this. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritirjnanam apohanam cha vedascha sarvairahameva vedyo vedantagrid veda eva chaham.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
And a lot of ISKCON temples, you will see that Satvika Bhojan is given. And how does it made? And it is made with full-heartedly. It is for Krishna Prasadam, Krishna Prasadam. It keeps on going. Here also, few of my college, the college students, I came to know that they wait, and they go to ISKCON temple to have food. Why? No, as a prasadam, it is awesome food we eat. So what is it? Krishna says that he is in everyone's heart, and that remembrance and knowledge. So then they started joining Bhagavad Gita class also, and they said, you know what? If the food is so good and it is given as offered us to Krishna, and that is why it is good. So what is it? What is the actually? Is it something mystic power, or is it something like magic? So people talk about it, but by all the Vedas, Krishna is known. Okay, he is a compiler of Vedanta, and he is a knower of the Vedas. He is a compiler also. Veda Vyasa was the person who was given this duty by Krishna. So that is how he was. So he is seated in everyone's heart. Naturally, whatever they work, that is what you are seeing here. And from me coming, it comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Sometimes forgetting is also good. No, if we all know, we'll see in Chitraketu story, we all know what happened in last birth. It is so dangerous. We don't know. Dva vimao purushau loke क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थो अक्षर उच्यते.
There are 2 classes of beings: the fallible, that is capable of making mistakes or being erroneous, and the infallible, that is not liable to mislead, deceive, or disappoint. In the material world, every entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every entity is called infallible.
So yeah, fallible is always capable of making mistakes. We're all into that. But then infallible, there in the spiritual world, not liable to mislead or deceive or disappoint. Okay. Yes, these images indicates fallible and infallible. यस्माक्षरमतीतो अहमक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अथोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रतितः पुरुषोत्तमः.
Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person.
Who is going to give with such guarantee, with such authority that I am the one, all in all? Just surrender, just be with me. So he's a being. I am with you. I am there. So he's beyond both fallible and infallible, and everybody is behind him. So he doesn't fall. He says that I am the greatest and celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as a supreme person. No one, all your Vedas and Upanishad talks about him, but they have not applied or realized that. They have not realized. So he himself has to come down to speak about him. That's what all of them, Kshirodaya Shaya Vishnu. You see all the demigods, they're all meditating on him. Brahma, Shiva. Yo mameva sammodho janati purushottamam sa sarva vidbhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotional service, O son of Bharata.
Yes, those who know me will always do services. Okay, will always do services means will always treat all the living entities who's as a Krishna's creation, and make sure that he doesn't, he's a proprietor, he's a knower, he's the enjoyer, he's there. But then if I start thinking that I am doing everything, then we are already in the fallible status. So whosoever knows him as a Supreme Personality of Godhead automatically will be engaged in the devotional service. That's what you're seeing here. Okay. So iti guhyatamam shastram idam uktam maya nagha etad buddha buddhiman syat kritasyascha bharata.
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
So we'll become perfect. Now, related to this is the Guhyatamam knowledge. Okay, this is how to get disentangled, how to detach ourselves, how to totally cut chitwa detachment. This tree, and that is where we will quickly have one more presentation of Chitraketu's story, which is again from Srimad Bhagavatam. And when we see this, it's so related. See, the anger management, anger control, and the story of King Chitraketu and his son, disentanglement of the tree, all three concepts together, if you put, and that is so relevant for our life. Okay, so what is happening? King Chitraketu ruled the earth, everything went beautifully, fruit trees, and it's like, the biggest, the richest, and everything was perfect. So one day the king's life took a strange turn. He had a lot of wealth. He had that good looks and everything. He had a lot of wives, many wives. Raja, king. And then, so what happened was one day, Angirasa, one of the transcendental, one of the rishi, he came, and then he just came to this, and then he started being with him. And he found that king was not very happy. King was looking very sad by looks. So he said, okay. Uh, uh, so King said that anxiety was there. So King said, no, I have everything, but I need one son who will really make sure that this kingdom I can hand over and go. And then, so I need son. So he says, okay, Angirasa with a lot of, basically they never do all this, but still he gave one pot of sweet rice to the Chitraketu's favorite queen is Kridayuti. So now the sage told the king, this is very important sentence. You will have a son who will bring you both joy and sadness. Without waiting for an answer, Angira left the palace. He left the palace. Okay, so this is just the images, and this image has got the right image, lot of wives. Okay, and one of them is like the now here you see Narada, the king, the queen, and so many queens. So all of them, he was very happy. There was now the boy is born, the child is born, and king spends lavishly, tries to distribute gold, silver, clothing, jewels, and everything, horses, elephants, cows, to all of them. He's so happy. Okay, so finally, because of this Angira rishi, Angira says one of the Saptarishi. Now all the other wives, they are so jealous, so jealous. In Dhruva Charitra, the way Suruchi and Suniti, the same way, all of them, they felt, when they don't have a child, automatically the king's attention will be on Kridyuti. So what do? they give all of them together. They make sure that when the nurse, when the child is alone, when the mother has just stepped out and the nurse is there, they, without knowing, they give her they give the child the poison. Okay. Now, once the poison is given, naturally the child dies. Now, Kurudyuti and the king, they cry. They are so much into the pain after so many years when the child is born, and then the child is given poison by that jealousy, and they were so jealous. Now, far away, Angira heard the tragedy. Along with the sage Narada, he traveled and he came here. So once he came here to Chitraketu and his very prince's fateful bedroom, there he saw the king lying on the floor like any other dead body, forgetting formalities. So now, O King, Angira said, what kinship, these are the important words here. What kinship does that dead body have with you, or you with it? As for the soul who lived inside it, you may say he is your son. But was he your son before he lived here? Or will he or your son tomorrow? Just as the waves of the ocean push together and pull apart grains of sand, so the waves of time cause people to meet and separate. It's the nature's law, and no amount of lamentation can stop. Your quantum physics, your super soul, your jivatma, your lamenting, your disentanglement, your detaching. Please put all these dots together and connect and see. Does it make sense what the Rishi is saying? Okay. So what does he say now? Now he says, Narada and Angirasa, they explain it to the queen and the king. So Angira replied, he might, so he says, now you have to just make sure. But Narada wanted, let me exercise my mystic power. So what does he do? He brought the dead son into the vision of all lamenting relatives. Okay. He's asking the soul. So Narada said, all good fortune unto you. Look, your father and mother and all your friends and relatives are stricken because you have passed away. You died at such an early age. Narada is saying with all his mystic power, he's talking to the soul. And the rest of your life still remains. So go back into your body. Enjoy the rest of your life with your friends and relatives. Take the royal throne and all the wealth your father will give you. Narada spoke to the soul. Okay. Now the soul returned to the body. Then he spoke as everyone gasped. I mean, one could never imagine that he could speak. What did he speak? Okay. He spoke. He said, who is my father? Was he my father in this or in the previous or three births before? When the soul started speaking, they realized, my goodness, the reality is the soul just removes this cloth and goes into the next cloth. That means this body into the next body, transmigration. So the soul doesn't remember. That is the thing, that it is just the body. How will we know that, this was my father and mother? Then the king, they are given this. The king is given that transcendental knowledge, which he and his all the queens and everyone tries to understand, and then they go into the total devotional service to Krishna. Now, this Chitraketu story, you can read and in detail, what it talks about the transmigration, what it talks about the body, what it talks about the soul, everything, Narada, Angira, and the soul. There's a lot of conversation which goes on. This is also there in Bhagavatam story. I just wanted that, we connect the dots here, that how do we lament? Why do we get attached? And what is the desire? I have to do my duties, that is fine, but more entanglement, more detachment, more attachment, the desire for everything is all a waste, Do your duty with a lot of kindness, with a lot of empathizing, with unconditional positive regard. It is very, very difficult. Two contradictory things without attachment. Attachment naturally has to be for Krishna only. We are doing it only for Krishna. That has to be our focus. Okay. I will stop here. But I really rushed through when there is so much to say. Today was like, handling anger. I wouldn't say controlling anger. Mind is control. Anger handling, anger managing by, doing all this. And the 15th chapter, Sarvasya Chaham, I'm in Veda, I'm in this, and then how the tree, which is the reflection, the banyan tree, is connected with our all those desires, will stop us, and we need to get disentangled. Then the third thing, the Chitraketu's son's story, which clearly says, it's possible, it is easy for us to get totally chitwa. Chitwa is totally cut. How do we cut? Detach, and attach, detach. This is the greatest thing which everybody has to practice. Okay, I'll stop here. Please, I hope you're all doing the chanting, you're all doing the quiz, and you're all there with us for the level 2. Then voluntary forms, any related issues on logistics, anything. Prajesh Prabhu is here. He is our admin, and he introduced himself in the beginning also. And so you can approach us anytime. All right. So we'll stop here. If any question is there, you can write it in the group also. I see Devamitra Basu, Devamrita Basu, we were waiting for your Sankirtan. We'll listen to it. Every day I say that we'll listen to that tomorrow. Maybe after the, once we start the class, you come, because half an hour before we do all the chanting and the Sankirtan, right? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasavadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, all the devotees. Any question you have, you can write. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll stop here. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Srijita Mataji. Hare Krishna. Prajesh Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Any
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
announcement, Prajesh Prabhu, if you have to make, you can make it to the group. The group members don't leave the group, and if any posting is there, this I keep saying, anything we post, immediately one person leaves, but fortunately not since the last 2 to 3 days, they've not been leaving. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, can I stop? Hare Krishna, Prajesh Prabhu, Shri Jaitamataji. Okay.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.